growing up in a Chinese household, it's like, how come you don't try hard like them? And it's just like, you feel so shameful. And then growing up also in a strict Christian home, everything was based, at least my experience, was on fear. Everything I did was always followed by, am I going to go to hell for this? You can see also just the stress in her face. And I'll be like, what's going on? She's like, I can't feel anything. It's her body saying, we don't want to feel anything. It's too painful. Let's just shut the whole thing down. Learning and understanding what my diagnosis of ADHD explains so many of the internal struggles and self-judgments and doubts and fears. It's like been just so healing, and to at least understand where it comes from, why, and that it's okay. I feel like I'm 2 times as strong as I ever was. My mom was a single mom, but she worked 7 days a week, and I would go over to her at her desk and try to get her attention, but it would be a distraction from her getting her work done. And so me talking was a negative. Yeah. So I just kind of learned to try to not say anything. We have traumas, things that we're trying to heal within ourselves, but also within our communities, within our world, within our families and friends. There's just so much division and misunderstanding and disconnect. And so I feel like I have work to do. My passion is to help put a spotlight on people that I feel like we need to hear more of, because we need to learn more from each other so that we can appreciate each other and build more connection. And I'm excited to do these things and continue this journey.
Greater Good Radio, Connect, Learn, Heal, and Grow is brought to you by Brain Gain Hawaii, a boutique executive recruiting, career development, and coaching firm. Learn more at braingainhi.com. Welcome to Greater Good Radio. Today's guest is Nolan Hong, the co-founder and producer of Pop Creative Media and here in Hawaii. You know, I met you a long time ago, but it wasn't like formal. I went to your store.
No,
and I bought
way.
some gloves, and I was going to do actually stuff, but then I never did nothing.
Wow. What did you do with the gloves?
I gave them away after.
Oh,
They sat there for like 20 years or something. You know, because this was kind of a long time ago.
I was going to say, can you give them back?
Yeah. No, they're came up. It's a bust. They're sticky and stuff already. It's junk. You know what I mean? They're just sitting in like doing nothing. But I remember I met you doing that. And then when Ryan Kusumoto introduced us at that fundraiser and they had the video on there, I was like, oh, there's something kind of interesting in your story, because I spend most of my time in the, I guess, like therapeutic space. I spend most of my time either in trainings or in practice or as a client with therapists and healers and so on. So when I was there's a piece about your whole kind of journey that has been making me curious. So that's kind of where it's at.
That means a lot, because I feel like that's the most meaningful thing for me personally. Like as much as I enjoy the work that I do as far as like media and television and all that stuff, it's entertaining. But I feel like the most, connection that I have as far as, what kind of value can I bring to people? I feel like I went through all of these life experiences to somehow be able to relate and connect with people in ways that they don't normally get to hear or see. So for you to have that interest in it is a huge honor for me. And it's super fulfilling, because I've always just wanted to share more about it, but nobody's asked me. So I tend to just like share on my own, like on social media.
I'm watching that. Yeah, I'm watching that. So that's been an interesting one, right? So if you could get the answer to only one question, right? You could have it answered like right now, today, by the universe or so on. What would that one specific question be?
For me, and this is something I'm trying to work on, because I don't want to ask this question. I feel like this is not a good question, but I just honest where I'm at right now. Like I just need to know what's the end, like the absolute for sure result. Like I always want to know in advance, because of like my life. Like, cause right now it's like, it feels like, okay, we're on the road to whatever I'm supposed to achieve or become or, fulfill my destiny. Right. But every moment of the day is always second guessing and questioning. Like, am I going in the right direction? Am I making a mistake? I'm always wondering. And I always wish that I could have just this definite, like, no, at the end of this, you're going to be successful. You won't be homeless. You're going to have, friends and family and all that stuff. And then I can be like, oh, great. Then I'm just going to enjoy this journey and feel confident about it. which is not realistic. That's not how life works. That's not how the experience is supposed to be. But that's what keeps me up all the time, is that worry and concern of, am I doing the right thing? Am I going to be okay?
So like if you put into one sentence question, what would it be?
What is the result of my life going to be?
I used to have, up until probably last year, maybe 4 years prior, was very focused on like, what is my purpose? You know, what is this last part of my life going to be about? Am I wasting it? Am I screwing up? What am I supposed to be doing? And it was like it was pretty intense. Like,
Yeah.
what am I supposed to be doing? So I don't know if that's what it feels like to you.
I would say maybe a few years ago, that's how I felt. I feel like I know what my purpose is, or at least I know what I want my purpose to be.
But you want to know the result?
I just want to know how to do it. And if the choices I'm making and the things that I'm doing is going to result in success
What if it
of
doesn't?
that purpose, then that would feel like I wasted all that time and made a mistake. And like, it's that fear of failure.
What if you didn't hit that, but at the end of it all, you had ultimate bliss?
Then that would be great.
At the end of it and all, you were like, you felt amazing. You felt whole. You felt, accomplished, but you didn't achieve that.
Yeah. And I'd be totally fine with that, because I'm accepting that I can't control or predict what happens. I'm kind of more the vessel of whatever this purpose that I have. And I have an idea of, based on what my heart feels, but how it looks, the how isn't necessarily my business. But yeah, that's the ultimate goal, is to have like ultimate bliss at the end of it, of like, I feel like I've fulfilled, a purpose, that I've left the world or the people that I've been around in a better place for whatever I've done for them or with them. But I would just like, I guess that question is, will I feel that way at the end? Because if I know that I feel that way at the end, then I'll be okay. But if I were to be told like, nah, you're going to have a lot of regret and sadness at the end, then I would like to know that so that I can change things. Because that's my biggest fear, is that at the end of life, I'm like, oh man, nothing worked out. I made a total mistake of, the decisions that I made, and should have thought of other things, stuff like that.
That sounds like you beat yourself up a lot about that one.
That's why I said, like, that's one of the things that I've been really working hard on, is a lot of like the self-doubt, the fear of failure. I always am so afraid of not being good enough, or, and as much reinforcing, supportive messages and people around me that can point out all the good, I always will hear it and initially go like, oh, good, I'm doing okay. And then I'll go, but what if? And then all of those doubts, and go, what if they're lying? Or what if they don't see the whole part of me where there's the bad stuff or whatever, and I can never just wholeheartedly just accept the good. I always am looking for the little nooks and crannies of bad, which is so self-defeating and so anti-productive for me. So I'm really been working on trying to work through that. I know I can't just ignore it, because if I ignore it, it's still there.
Yeah.
So I just want to figure out how to process it better.
What if it was just okay to just be?
It would be great to just be.
You know what I mean? Just regardless of doing anything.
Yeah. I would love that. I don't know if my brain will allow me to feel okay to just be at this moment. That's part of the work, honestly. I know I admire, there's so many people that seem the way that they're living their life is like that. Like, there's so much freedom in that. And yeah, I would love to achieve that kind of freedom too.
Here's the interesting thing, is that like what things look like from the outside, they're not always like that on the inside. So it's like marketing, right? Marketing, where you have external perception and internal reality. I'll give you a very good example. So like, there are companies over here that I know for a fact they win best places to work every year. And their internal turnover is so high. Like, I mean, I can't even think of very many people that are there for more than 2 years. You know what I'm saying? But every year they win that award, right? So an external perception is one thing, but an internal reality is different. It's like this social media kind of culture, right? And I think that especially for people who are highly functional, it's hard to just be, because a lot of our identity or self-worth and so on comes from the accomplishment. because that's what came when we were younger too, right?
Yeah.
If you accomplish, then you're something, and if you don't, then you're bad, right? And if you're bad and it's morally bad, then we have shame, and nobody wants to feel shame.
Yeah.
So that's what we carry into the present.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the recipe for my first half of life, was built on a lot of shame and fear and guilt.
The other thing that I noticed too is that I think in your video you said that you're adopted.
I was raised by a single mom, only child, and I had a stepdad later when I was 10, and now I'm a stepdad myself.
Oh, interesting. And then your mom is still alive?
Mm-hmm.
She's pretty healthy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Then you're not caregiver yet.
Not yet, yeah.
That one is so hard.
Yeah. Think about that a lot too.
Yeah, so I'm watching like on your socials since I initially met you that you have the podcast that goes. I guess you have acting and some other stuff going on. But the things I see the most are like, hey, I'm trying to deal with my ADHD.
Yeah.
Hey, I got these other things going on and so on. That seems to be more like there's a search for something. That's why I think I mentioned to you at the dinner, right? Do you have any insight into what that is?
Well, I think it's two parts, because like my passion is to help people, to help put a spotlight on people that I feel like we need to see more of or hear more of, because we need to learn more from each other so that we can appreciate each other and build more connection. Like if we're all living on this planet and experiencing life together, like let's try to make it the best experience possible instead of at the expense of others or whatnot and stuff, right? And so there's enough, creators and content creators and stuff building up content that is, popular, but it's not serving that purpose. It's dividing us, or getting a kick out of someone else's expense. And so I'm like, but there are so many great people and great communities and great cultures and things. I think we need to put more spotlights on those in a way that's safe, where people can feel like, yeah, this is who I am. And so that's what one of my focuses is. And that's where, the TV shows and the podcasts and the interviews and all that. At the same time, I want to do that for myself too, because I'm not there yet where I can just be like, everybody follow my lead. It's like, I still got to figure it out too. So that's why I've been putting it out on both ends, where putting a spotlight on those that I feel like should be celebrated, or at least put on a platform to have their message or missions shared. And then I also want people who were like me to know, hey, you're not alone, and I'm figuring it out too. Let's figure it out together. Let's come together and try to make things better for ourselves together, not suffer in silence.
I kind of don't see any separation in that though. You know what I'm saying? Like I see a different like delivery, right? Like one is kind of more vlog style, and then the other one is I'm going to interview and so on. It sounds exactly the same to me, which is, can we be okay celebrating each other and connecting, and can we hold space versus, otherwise. And and it's like both, it's kind of sounds the same.
It's the same.
Yeah.
But I think if I just did one versus the other, I don't think it would be as complete. Because for instance, when I'm interviewing people, like I want it to be totally known that my whole focus is them. It's not about, well, how can I use this opportunity to get myself over or to interject myself into their story and such. But I do have a lot to share that I want people to connect with. So that's why I have that side for my social medias and my own story. And then when I'm with others, I want it to be, about them. So that's why I needed both,
So I saw on the socials that you guys are in season 2 for the show, right? Like, can you tell me some kind of story or background on why it's so important to you?
So what is important to me is that prior to doing the show, we were working with a lot of nonprofits, and what was unique about, I guess, how we were helping is a lot of them would initially be like, hey, we need a video to talk about who we are and what we do so that we can put it on our website or for a fundraiser event. And what was kind of typical out there prior to us doing it was like, it was almost like a infomercial. Like, here at this organization, we do X, Y, and Z. Here are the statistics. Please support us. And I was like, none of that really resonates with me on a human level. You know, like, I think what would make more sense is like, let me learn about the communities that you are in and why you're doing this. What is the reason behind this? And then I can connect on a relatable, emotional, and personal level so that when you do tell me what you do, I'm like all in. Like, yeah, that's exactly what this world needs. And so when we started working with nonprofits, like we would go in and really learn their stories and have these deep conversations and have those conversations that they're like, wow, we've never, had a chance to talk about this stuff. And that's what sparked this idea of the TV show. Like, I think that is a common thing. And now we do with podcasts, long format and stuff, but in these television, and it's like very reporter style, like they will send them, hey, here's like 4 questions we're going to ask you. Be prepared to have your answers prepared. And it's not like a authentic human experience like this. So that's what we were like, let's bring that authentic, like, Hawaii style way of getting to know each other. We're just talking story, but in a way where we put it and package it nicely and edit it so that it's authentic to the story, but it's still relevant to somebody who doesn't know anything about it.
Was there one experience or memory in particular that it was like, wow, this is something that I need to expand?
It's hard because my brain is always about like, what's next? So it's so funny. People will bring up episodes or things and say how cool it was. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. It was like, I kind of forget everything.
But if you had to take one, the most meaningful moment to you, and you're going to forget everything else.
Yeah. So the one that I always go back to is last season, we went to Maui, and through just a referral, like somebody who was like, hey, but you're from Maui. Any people or stories that might be interesting for us to go and explore and check out? And they gave us some referrals and reached out to this one person. And on the phone, just in talking, I was like, ooh, I don't know how this is going to go. Cause he was like this like real local sounding, like old guy. He said he had a ranch. I didn't know what the ranch was like or anything. And he's like, yeah, just come true, whatever. We just do whatever. And I was like, oh, this is going to be weird. And I personally don't like the outdoors, don't like nature and all that stuff. So I was like, ooh, this is going to be rough. What ended up happening is like this amazing ranch all the way up into the mountains. And he has like wild horses and goats and cows and stuff. And it's one thing to be like, oh, cool, I get to see all this stuff. But to be that high and silent, and he's sharing his story and his connection of like what he wants, which is just to restore the land because he loves Maui so much that all he can think of is like, how can I replenish the land that, I have this, blessing to have access to. And that made me change my whole perspective about life.
Now you have goats?
Well, I appreciate them, but I ain't going to have, like, that's a lot of responsibility. Yeah. But I think looking at it, like, you can find what it is that your specialty or your skills are in the world and use that to give back or replenish, to heal. And I took what he's doing and kind of applied that to, my mission, which is, I love capturing these stories. I love giving people this platform to share and connect. But now I add onto that, the mission is because I want to bring about healing. And it's made things so much more meaningful and clearer.
When you say healing, what do you mean?
I think we all have our own things that we have, like traumas, things that we're trying to heal within ourselves, but also within our communities, within our world, within our families and friends. Like there's just so much division and misunderstanding and disconnect. Even our relationship with nature, like there's so much that can still be healed, which can make our experiences and life on this planet more richer, more fulfilling, more enjoyable. And so as long as there's suffering in the world and anger and hurt, like I feel like I have work to do,
Mm-hmm. So what would you say was your most healing experience?
Ooh, that's hard to say, I guess. Well, I don't know if it's recency bias, but really learning and understanding what my diagnosis of ADHD meant, because that explains so many of the internal struggles and self-judgments and doubts and fears. It explains so much for me that it bled all the way back to my childhood of being able to forgive and understand all of the things that was kind of haunting me or worrying me. So while it's pretty recent, like within the last couple months, to me, it's like been just like so healing because I carried so much baggage. Like I had a bag full of hurt and regrets and self-doubts, and to at least understand where it comes from, why, and that it's okay. It's like, oh, I feel like I'm like 2 times as strong as I ever was, even though I'm much older and more beat up physically.
You ever watch Gabor Mate? Mm-mm. So Gabor Mate is a medical doctor, and he's in Canada. He's kind of an older dude, but he's also, I guess, a therapist and so on. And then he wrote a book on ADHD, or he might have wrote multiple books, but he talks about it as a trauma response, as opposed to like a neurological issue. And what he's saying is that, when you're a child and something happened, we all want to have our caregivers, or in your case, it would be your mom or whoever it may be, then to care for us. But if something happens, we, as a child, we can't just run away.
Yeah.
We can't escape, right? So we can't fight because that doesn't work either. So what will happen is we'll freeze or we'll dissociate, which our brain, our consciousness kind of leaves our body. And it's helpful. It's adaptive in the moment. It's really helpful because it helps to survive. But then when we go to school, and then now that same response happens, now it becomes, what? Can I pay attention? What did we just talk about? Well, you can't do all these things like other people. And then we have the shame that comes on with that and all types of things, right? So he talks about it more as kind of an adaptability that is a strategy that no longer is not that helpful as you get older because of the constructs of like school and so on.
Yeah. I've seen that happen in real time with my wife because that's something that she has that's pretty strong for her through her childhood.
What do you mean, dissociation?
Yeah, where like her body will just shut down. Like
in a freeze response. Or...
Yeah, she'll just like pass out. Well, I mean, she knows she's going to, so she'll like lie down.
Yeah, like faint.
Yeah, and then I'll be like, so you can see also just the stress in her face, and I'll be like, what's going on? What are you feeling? And she's like, I can't feel anything. And she could barely talk, but she's like, I can't feel anything. And it's like we've understood that it's her body saying, we don't want to feel anything. It's too painful. Let's just shut the whole thing down. And I think to an extent, my body does that too, but not as extreme as hers. And it helps me to see from the outside it happening. It makes more sense as I'm seeing someone else going through it versus for myself, I'm just like, maybe I'm just sleepy, like.
So like when you guys were younger, it was okay for you to express your emotions or no?
No, not at all.
Not at all, right?
Right.
You got to repress it. So then there's no other way out at that point.
Well, you know what? I might have been okay to express my emotions, but there's nobody there to receive it. Because my mom was a single mom, but she worked 7 days a week. We had family businesses, and so she was just always working. So, I was by myself a lot. I remember being bored a lot, and I would go over to her at her desk and try to talk to her or get her attention. But it would be an annoyance or a distraction from her getting her work done. And so me talking was a negative. And so I just kind of learned to try to not say anything.
Yeah. I mean, this guy, his name is Joe Hudson. I really like him a lot. He's a coach. He coaches Sam Altman. And, he's like big time. So he was talking about how fear can be excitement trying to manifest itself, but it's not able to. And then it turns into anxiety.
Oh, yeah.
Right? He said because, especially for people that were young, and when they're excited, it was not okay. And it becomes dangerous, right?
Yeah.
And then what happens is it's just not okay. And that gets programmed into the nervous system. So now as they get older, it's like, hey, I'm going to get excited about something, but internally it's not okay. And then that turns into anxiety. So He said that one of the exercises around that is as you feel that kind of fear pop up and you say, I'm excited, I'm excited, I'm excited like 10 times and then make it okay, then it just changes.
So like if I'm starting to worry like about getting anxious about a new idea that I want to start,
Yeah, try it.
then
If
I'll
you
just
want,
say, I'm
try
excited.
it.
I'm excited.
Yeah, try it. Like when you know how you said, I'm going to get excited about this. I'm going to start beating myself like if it doesn't work and stuff.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah.
So like when that doesn't work and stuff comes up, then it's just, I'm excited. 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 Because he said that the fear around the anxiety is typically like, I'm going to enter into something that's going to make me have to shrink or pull back, or something that I'm going to expand into something new, but it's not okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I think sounds like a lot of the stuff that you're doing, right? Mm-hmm. Which is like, I'm about to embark on these things that excite me. I feel like this is what my purpose and my path. And then just as you start to get going, it becomes, oh crap. Now all the negative self-talk starts coming in, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
100%.
And the negative self-talk is probably helpful when you're younger, because then you don't get scoldings from your mom.
Yeah.
Right. As a youngster, it's like, if she's not going to take care of you, who's going to take care of you? You can't mess with your mom.
And I think also, the fear of failure was so strong growing up because, growing up in a Chinese household, it's like, oh, look at them, like that's success. And then if you don't achieve that, it's like, oh, how come you're not like that? And how come you don't try hard like them and stuff? And it's just like, you feel so shameful and stuff. And then growing up also in a strict like Christian home, everything was based, at least my experience, was on fear.
Dude, that's all shame.
Like, but everything I did was always followed by, am I going to go to hell for this? Yeah. And I remember, and it seemed so normal to me at the time. And now when I look back, I'm like, this is super unhealthy for a child to think this. But I would catch myself throughout the day multiple times and stop and just say, dear Lord, please forgive me of all my sins. Because I looked at it as like, I had to clear the slate, because if I died or the rapture happened and I had any sin, I immediately go to hell. Like, no matter how good I was and how many great things I did, if I just have that one misstep, I lied or I did something wrong, I'm going to hell. So I remember being so paranoid, like every day, like, I don't know when I'm going to go. So I got to remember to always keep cleaning the slate. And so, yeah, I think though that kind of tendency to have fear and shame carried into adulthood and showed in these other ways now. I'm not praying to forgive my sins because I'm afraid of going to hell, but I'm afraid of failing, and I'm afraid of, making a mistake that will send me to, a situation that I don't want to be in, right?
But kind of sounds like it, right?
Yeah,
Where if you said, okay, I'm at the end of my life, I didn't really accomplish this and so on. I mean, where are you going?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Sounds like you're going hell.
Yeah.
Or whatever the construct of that is, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds the same.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Which makes sense on why that would be scary.
Yeah.
How much of your inner work are you doing that involves like processing emotions? Like where it involves you actually facing, feeling, processing?
That's one that I've just started recently as well, because as I'm learning more and figuring things out, my head is so strong. Like my mind is so strong that it controls everything, where it has made it where I don't hear my heart. And I feel like I've put up the walls around it because I'm trying to protect it. But because I do that, I hide myself from feeling the true emotions. Because even if I'm starting to feel an emotion, my mind will like try to validate it or try to explain it so that I don't feel it anymore. And it only became apparent to me because my wife had pointed out to me that anytime I apologized for something, because I had the perfect apology, I felt like every time, like I knew I was sorry and I wanted her to know it. And so I would say it, but it's very controlled. And part of it is because I didn't want to get upset and angry. But I would say like, I apologize. I should have done this. And I was like, in my head, I'm like hitting all the right points. I'm crossing off everything on the checklist. There's nothing left for me to be saying, right? And she would never really truly be okay. And I get so frustrated. I'd be like, what more do you want me to say, And she pointed out, like, you're saying everything, but it's like so void of emotion. Like, I know you mean it, but it doesn't feel like it. And she pointed out, I think it's because you're guarding your heart so much that you don't want to speak from the heart, you're speaking from your mind. And at that moment, I was like, oh my gosh, you're right. Because just her bringing up speak from my heart terrified me. And I didn't even know that was going on. So nowadays, anytime I'm thinking something, or if I get into an argument, I have to remind myself, because my initial go-to is to go right back to that, like, here are the things that you are upset with, here are the things I'm acknowledging, and here's the things I'm sorry for. And then sometimes I'll be able to hear my voice saying that. I'm like, oh no, okay. Let me tell my heart, it's okay, you're safe. You're not going to be broken, or you're not going to be, put in any danger. This is good for you. Open up, take down these walls, and just really feel what it is that you're feeling, and then try to, say it. And yeah, without fail, every time what I say is something completely different than what I was planning to say. And it's scary, but it's been so much more effective and healing. And it's kind of like, I know I have a dad out there, but I don't know anything about him. I know we're connected. He's, gave me these genes, but I don't know much about him. That's how I feel about my heart a lot of times, and my emotions. It's like they're very foreign to me, and I'm just starting to learn that about myself.
So can I make a comment on that?
Yes. Just kidding. Yeah.
No, I don't have to.
Yeah.
I spend kind of a lot of time around rupture and repair, because that is typically, relationally, where things can go awry. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard to avoid the rupture just because we're human and so on. If we can get good at the repair, though, then the damage is not, set and increasing. One thing that was super helpful for me to learn in terms of the repair is that the repair cannot happen until the person who feels like they were wronged or so on really feels like the other person understands what they had to go through, like what they actually felt.
Yeah.
And once they get that, then it's not that it resolves, it dissolves. It just dissolves, because now there's connection.
That is so helpful, because I think that is one of the biggest challenges for me, is that whenever I upset someone, my first instinct is, oh no, like, that's the last thing I want to do. Like, it's not my intention to hurt someone or upset someone. And so to know that I did it really upsets me. And then it goes into, how can I fix this? And it's a lot of defense versus, let me connect with you on your emotion and feel what you're going through. Because I feel so bad about that. I didn't even want them to feel. I'm like, I want to cover it. Like, don't feel that. Like, sorry. Let me take that away from you. But if I don't even connect and understand and know what they went through and feel that empathy towards it, they're never going to feel like they were heard or understood. So I appreciate you sharing that, because that is a big piece that I need to work on, and to hear it said that way makes it so much more understandable for me. My goal needs to be, how can I understand her and feel what she's feeling, so that we can get to the repair together. Yeah.
Because you have, on one side, this is like connection, and then on the other side, this would be like protection, correction, and fixing.
Yeah.
So when we go in there and we're trying to fix it, we're fully out of connection.
Yeah.
When what's needed in the repair is a connection.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome.
Did you know Pono Shim? Mm-hmm. So he made the shirt. I wore my Pono shirt today, right? And Pono would always say connection versus correction, right? When we connect, then we can have the communication.
It's so interesting, because that ties back again to, what I want to do and what my mission is, wanting to build connection.
Yeah.
Right. And
you're building connection externally, so you can build connection internally.
Yeah. So
that's what it looks like.
Yeah. That's the theme of my life, I think. And to learn all the different ways that I can connect and build connection will just help me so much. And this part that we're just talking about now is where I'm so disconnected, and that the more I'm hearing these things, the more I can learn to start building that connection again with myself, with my wife, with people around me.
Well, that's the way that
powerful.
It works, right? It goes internal first and then external.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like whatever is going on inside of us, we tend to project externally, and that's what we see.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, if this is the projector, then the film is the past, and then the image on the wall or on the screen is the present. And then if you change the film, then the whole image changes.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. That stuff all changes. So it's, what are we projecting out there into the world?
I love that analogy. Has this been your whole life has been in this field of...
No.
What
No ways.
What were you doing before this?
I mean, for the most part, I just did business, right? I was doing entrepreneurial things. And I grew up in a family that I know loved me. Both my parents have passed now. I'm convinced, yes, I know they love me. But the way it was expressed was, we're not going to ever say we love you. We're never going to talk about emotions and stuff, because that's not how we do things in this family. Mm-hmm. But we'll be there when you need us, and actions speak louder than words. Everything's actions speak louder than words. So I was taught really young that what I do is basically who I am.
Yeah.
Right? What I do is who I am. And the hard thing is that when I was in school, I think I could not pay attention. So I've been diagnosed ADHD multiple times. But what I realized later is that it was just unresolved trauma. Right? So in a nutshell, the end of 2018, I was still caregiving for my father. He had cancer. My wife got super sick.
Oh, man.
So we're like, oh God, what's going to happen? Is she going to, potentially passing away or what? I have 4 kids. They're all at Punahou School. I'm paying full tuitions. I'm like, I'm going to have problems. You know what I mean? Like, what am I going to do? That was like November. And then December came around. I was cooking noodles, for New Year's, cooking noodles, Chinese boy. And then I spilled the boiling water in my stomach. And then I was like, I had 2nd-degree burns. Like, my skin came off my stomach. Oh, wow. And then I got sick for 2 months after that. And then I bought a 1-wheel motorized skateboard in April. And then I fell off it and I broke my back.
Oh my gosh.
So I had a burst fracture. One of the pieces that cracked of the vertebrae was cruising right on my spinal cord to remind me, like, in excruciating pain. I had discs that busted. I broke my tailbone. I was pretty out of it. I couldn't walk. I couldn't go bathroom. I was in a hospital for kind of a while. And I didn't know if I was going to walk again. You know what I mean? If I was going to move again. So I went and got some help. I didn't want to, because my wife ended up going to a spiritual advisor, and he basically told her, he said, look, one of your core beliefs is that I'll do anything for my friends and family, even if it kills me. And that's what's going on. Yeah. So you need to work on that and work on your boundaries. And then she worked with him on it, and she's doing pretty good now. But she said, you better go. And then when I was like, nah. The last thing I need is one, spiritual guy to tell me I'm a piece of crap. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the last thing I need right now. Like, I don't need someone to remind me how useless I am right now. You know what I mean? I can't work. I can't do anything. I can't move. I'm a burden. I have to ask for help. I said, all I want to do is work. I'm starting this new business. I know I'm in momentum. I have clients already. I'm jamming. I need to work. And the spiritual advisor told me, he said, look, your spirit guides are telling me that you're not listening. They're giving you all these warnings and you don't listen. So your next injury or whatever happens to you is going to be worse if you don't get your spiritual alignment in check. And I was like, oh, hell no. No. I'm at like 9 or 10 out of 10 pain always. I said, I'm not taking the worst injury. I'm going to do whatever it needs. And so I started doing all types of therapies, physical therapy, started doing all the spiritual work, started doing all that kind of stuff. And then I don't know what happened, but something cracked open. I started getting panic attacks where it was like debilitating from some, I guess what you would call bad childhood trauma. And then I was out of it. So I was like, I need help. I don't know how to get help. And then the pandemic hit. My business dropped 80%. It was like, I need help and I got problems. Yeah. So I started to learn stuff. I started to get help. I started to see therapists, healers, whatever it may be. I started to learn it all. And during the pandemic, things would open up to non-clinicians, or trainings would open up to non-clinicians. I started taking them. That's how this started. Wow. Yeah. It's through pain.
When your wife was saying you should see the spiritual guide and you said no, what changed your mind to say
too much pain?
Oh.
Yeah. I didn't have the wording for it before, but that feeling of like shame, which is I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
I'm not enough. Something's wrong with me. I can't handle it. But I was like, you know what? I don't have any other choices. Yeah. I'm sucking wind bad. I need help. Yeah. And it forced me to go there. And that's what I find is that who wants to go through this unless it causes you pain? Like, would you go through all these things if it wasn't, but no ways, right? No. Who wants to go and revisit the most painful stuff that we've been trying to get rid of our entire life? Mm-hmm. Right? But the hard thing is that, because how old are you?
45.
45, yeah, that's right around the age. And right around 40s or so, and you can't accomplish your way out of it. But you could before, you know what I mean? 20s, 30s, win awards, get adulation, build a business, do things. You get all this external praise and think, oh, wow, I'm doing pretty good. And then it stops working. Something stops working. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then here we are. So, well,
Wow.
that's what happened to me. So I've been,
That's crazy.
2018, 19, so it's 5-6 years going.
Yeah.
Something like that. I finally feel like I'm on the other end of the dark night of the soul.
Wow.
Yeah. It has taken a long time.
But that's also encouraging because sometimes it feels like it's never going to happen. So to hear you saying like, it takes a long time. It's like, okay, well.
But here's the thing. It's incremental. Like it's incremental. It's like the extreme pain portion of it was only up to the point where I have to surrender and say, look, I need help. I need some help, man. Because before that, asking for help is weakness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The last thing I can look like is weak. Get rid of weak. Throw it away. And in Chinese household, you don't throw anything away except weak. I mean, I wasn't about to go there until I had to.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's not actually weak. It's actually that required the most strength.
Yeah.
That's the hardest piece, is to actually reach out when you're used to being the one always offering the help.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, well.
I used to be afraid of asking for help because I didn't want to, one, burden other people, but two, I didn't want to owe them, because I'm always looking at it from a perspective of I'm going to give to people so much that I'm building up credit so that when I ever inconvenience them and ask them for something, I'll at least be like, I deserve to ask them that, which is so silly. But for the longest time.
But as a strategy and a practice, pretty good. It works, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've also noticed, though, I've never been able to feel like I've built up enough credit. You know, like it didn't matter how much I did. I would still feel like, ooh, I don't know if I deserve to ask for this help, or, you know.
And that's the hard piece, because a lot of that is developed so young that it's just invisible, or it's passed down generationally. It's not really ours, but we take it on.
Yeah.
Yeah. The same way it's like, you know, passed down a handbag you didn't want, but you didn't want to turn it away. Now it's yours.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking back then, like, is this going to be forever? If it's forever, I don't know if I can handle that. That would be very tough.
I felt the same way too so I had this like mystery, like gut issue where I was just every day throwing up, constantly sick, and just feeling awful, inflammation everywhere and stuff. And I remember thinking, well, I'll get a fix to this. I'll get some kind of diagnosis, some kind of medication. And I was seeing every single type of therapist, every kind of doctor, doing every test, and just thinking, okay, this is the one that'll find it. And after like 4 years of nothing working, not finding it, I remember hitting that point where I had felt so strongly and confident, like, this is temporary. And I remember this one day where I was like, I don't know if I'll ever get better, and this is miserable, and I don't know if I want to keep doing this. Yeah. And it felt so like heavy. Not that my stomach issues are anywhere close to the pain.
Do you still have it?
I still have the stomach issues. It's gotten way better, and I know what it's from for the most part, which is a combination of learning what foods I'm allergic to or sensitive to, but also I think it's also connected to
how much of that is repression of emotion.
So that's why it's getting better. I'm getting smarter with my diet, healing. And so it's a lot better than it used to be, but it's still there.
So it's like vomiting all the time?
Yeah. Oh. And it's uncomfortable too. Like even after I vomit, like I'm so bloated and just constantly, you know, burping and stuff like that. And it's like giving me headaches and I feel like I'm drunk, you know. But the problem is like I love food so much that when there's something there and I'm like, ooh, I know there's some stuff in there that I shouldn't eat, but let's just sample a little bit and then I suffer, you know. So it's not often that I do that, but at least I know what I'm doing versus before it was just like I had no control, didn't know what was happening. And I was like, am I just like going to live the rest of my life this awful experience?
So the food, what emotion are you not allowing yourself to feel by taking the food.
What do you mean?
So a lot of times we'll feed ourselves like self-soothing, you know what I'm saying? To soothe a certain emotion of some sort, right? So if that is it, then what emotion would you be using that food to soothe?
I don't know if it's that. I think that I'm trying to hit that high or to distract myself from maybe the negative stuff.
But the negative stuff that causes what emotion?
Yeah, I guess so.
What emotion, right? So like when somebody is drinking a lot, excessively, or any ism, that's typically to numb or distract against something we're not allowing ourselves to feel. It's not okay to feel this.
Oh.
Right? So what would it be?
I think I always seem to feel like I'm not doing enough.
So what emotion is under that?
I don't even know what to call it. I don't know if I understand what emotion it is.
So what I learned is that the struggle and like the pain and so on comes from not allowing yourself to feel stuff. So if you imagine right now and you go, okay, I'm going to try to not feel any emotion. Try it. Don't feel any emotion whatsoever. And then notice what happens in your body. You got to tighten up, right? You have to tighten up in order to stop it. So it's like, what emotion am I not allowing myself to feel?
I couldn't answer that for you right now. Maybe that's what the problem is. I haven't even opened up to recognizing what it is.
Right. Or it's so hidden in there, it's unrecognizable.
Yeah. I'm going to think about that more. But I definitely...
It's not a thought, though. It's a feeling. It's in the body. You're not going to think your way through that. You can't think your way out of a body thing.
Yeah. I've spent so much of my life just using my mind.
Yeah. The thinking is good for like executing stuff or, determining, higher level kind of calculations and so on. Emotions are in the body. The feelings are in their body. You can't think your way out of an emotion. Otherwise, you'd have done it a long time ago.
True. We'll have to come back to that.
Right? Okay. Because you figure there's an emotion. I'm not allowing myself to feel it. I'm going to eat something. That's supposed to make me feel better. My body wants to reject it now. So now I'm going to reject it. And then now we're moving through the whole cycle again. So it's like, what am I not allowing myself to feel? So let's say it's shame. I don't want to feel like I'm useless, I'm worthless, I'm not enough. So then what I'm going to do then is I'm going to hide and I'm not going to do anything, which then makes me feel more shame because I'm not doing anything. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it invites that strategy, invites the same exact feeling we're trying to avoid back in.
So then let's say I go, okay, that's what it is. It's shame. I'm not allowing myself to feel that. Does that mean then you go, so I should feel shame? And then you just feel it and then you just like sit in it?
So imagine this, right? So imagine like when you were really young and let's say you felt lonely, right? And as you were feeling lonely, it was totally okay. And you had somebody there in particular that said, hey, Nolan, makes total sense why you're feeling lonely. They validate your whole experience. They get it. You feel seen. You feel heard. You express yourself. You might cry a bit. It's totally fine. And then you move on. How does your life change now? Right? Then you take the second option, which is, I'm feeling lonely. I don't feel safe enough to bring it to my mother. I'm going to suffer in this thing on my own. This is my fault. I'm going to hold all this stuff in because maybe I grew up in a household that if you're going to cry, I'll give you something to cry about. I'm going to hold all this in now. And in order to hold it in, I got to tense up something. And I do that over and over and over again for the next 42 years.
Yeah.
That stuff wants to move. So every time it comes back up, every time it comes back up, it's going to feel exactly like it felt at 2 years old. And we go, oh, hell no. No. I'm right in the middle of a conversation. We're not going to do this. And we're going to force it back in again. And then we're going to cause the same things going on, right? Or I might say, okay, no, I'm going to eat something or I'm going to accomplish something or whatever that strategy is, right?
Yeah.
And it just creates the cycle over and over because that thing is basically repressed, oppressed, suppressed, depressed, right?
Yeah.
So then the solution on it is actually to be able to turn toward it, acknowledge it and welcome it. And it's okay.
So then you can let it go.
Let it feel it. Yeah. Because then it processes through. It's the same way as if like you're constipated and then you get that feeling, oh, it's going to come, and then you hold it in. You can't hold it in. You're going to have a problem. You know what I mean? You hold it in and you keep holding it in. What happens after a few weeks? It's coming out somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's got to let it go. And once it goes, it goes.
That makes sense. Because,
It's terror.
well,
Initially.
I was initially fearing that idea because for some reason I thought, oh, if I open myself up to that emotion, I just stay in it. Like it doesn't go away. To understand that feeling it and opening up to it allows it to leave. Like, of course that makes sense. But at the time I was just like, oh, but if I open it, I'm just going to be stuck in this like pool of shame or guilt, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't think of it as we're letting it go.
It's got to pass through. It's like going through a hose or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's all kinked up. Now things starts bursting and you see those pop out of different areas of your life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
That's kind of how the work typically goes.
Wow. I think there's a lot of emotions. I guess that makes sense why I have so many issues, because it's not just one. I think there's multiple. But yeah.
Which the solution on that is to just allow it and be, right? Because if we don't allow it and be, we're basically saying, I can't be myself.
Yeah.
I'm feeling this, but everything else tells me I can't do that. I can't be myself. I'm inauthentic now.
Yeah.
Which now causes me to feel disconnection and pain, right? Whereas if I can feel these things and it's okay, it's totally normal and I welcome them because they're telling me something helpful.
Yeah.
That's way different. I'm no longer fighting it. And when I no longer fight it, I no longer have the tension and stress of fighting it, and things can just move through. And when I don't have to fight it inside of myself, I no longer have to fight it when I see it in you. I no longer have to fight you.
You know, in talking this through, I think it kind of opened up a revelation for me just now. I don't necessarily know if it's a single emotion that I'm holding in, but I think what it is the fear of rejection and abandonment because of any of the emotions might be the thing that will trigger someone to go, ooh, I don't want to be around this person and leave. So I think for me, the fear of abandonment is what is triggering this overarching thing of gotta keep all of these emotions, whatever it is. So it might not just be one, it might be multiple that I'm preventing myself from feeling because I'm afraid that my authentic self is not going to be something that is accepted or wanted.
Right.
So that's why I got to put up this is what I know is okay and it's safe to project. So I'm just going to stick to that, you know?
So if you watch the pattern on that, right, it becomes, I have a fear of being rejected and abandoned, which then makes me adjust myself to try to be something that you're going to like.
Yeah.
Which then makes you kind of go, something's not right, brah. He's not doing that. And you pull away from me, which now makes me feel fear and abandoned.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So the resolution on that is, let me just be with fear and abandon. Let me feel it. Let me actually face it. Let me hug it. So it's like, let me be with it and be okay with it, feel it and let it pass. Not so I can get rid of it, because that's like, oh, come to my house so I can, off you.
Yeah.
But, right?
Yeah.
Versus come to my house and let me understand you. Let me be with you. Let me build
then
a
you can
relationship.
leave.
No, it's not leave.
Right. Well,
and then what happens is that you realize like, oh my gosh, that fear of abandonment was keeping me safe. This is a 2-year-old child working hard for me the whole time. It realized what I was going through, and that fear kept me okay because I wouldn't do things that would make me feel more fear of abandonment. You know what I mean? More of that feeling. But it got stuck doing that 24/7, and it's still stuck doing that. Let's say it's your actual son, right? Your son, 4 years old, and you gave him that chore, which was to keep that fear going, and forgot to tell him to stop. And all he knew was, this is what I do. Because this is how it is, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
If you saw your own son having to do that, how would you feel toward him? Would you feel like, I got to get rid of you?
No, I'd want to help, and tell him it's okay. And whoops, sorry.
Yeah. Right? Like,
I forgot
wow.
to tell you to stop doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of my bad. And now look at what you've done for me for this many years.
Yeah.
And then He looks at you and says, oh, you understanding what I'm doing? Normally I'm getting blasted on this. And then notice the relationship now.
Mm-hmm.
And then now notice when you go into the world, what your relationship is with that fear of abandonment.
Yeah.
You don't have to do the protective things that you were doing before any longer. That's the work.
Yeah. I had this visual as you're describing that. Like, as a child, yeah, I needed to wear helmet and elbow pads and wrist pads and stuff because I needed to protect myself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like me as an adult walking around downtown with all of that stuff still. And it's like, it's unnecessary, and it's actually inhibits you from doing what you could naturally do.
Or think about like how you approach the guests on your show, what your intention is with them, how you want to hold space for them, and so on. And then do that inside.
Yeah. That would be something that could change a lot for me.
Your guest now is fear of abandon.
Yeah.
You're interviewing the fear of abandon, and you realize it's a 3-year-old boy.
That's so helpful because, yeah, if we hadn't dug deep to getting to this point, I think I would have just stayed at that where I said, like, yeah, think about that. And then just rely on my brain, which hasn't been able to do what the heart and the emotions could do. So, being able to talk it through like this and then understanding it makes so much more sense now. Because I really felt so frustrated where I was like, I have no idea what emotion I'm hiding. And like, I should know.
Well, think about this, right? If you're 3 years old, all alone, you're an only child, you're by yourself, you have to make sense of it in order to not go like just lose it, right? Mm-hmm. That's what your brain has been doing. That's what your mind has been doing your whole life.
Yeah.
It's been making sense of things.
Yeah. Everything has got to be logical.
Yeah. It's making sense of it because otherwise it doesn't make sense. The only other thing that would make sense was my mom doesn't love me. She doesn't care about me. I'm worthless. And that hurts.
Yeah.
Right? So it starts to evaluate and explain things and so on. And that one's probably 2 years old too.
Yeah. Well, it happened again too, I think, when I was 10. The experience that I felt with my mom getting remarried, it was like another form of trauma and abandonment just because...
You're not number one anymore.
Yeah. I was a very distant number 2 and by myself a lot again, So, yeah, I think that one was really powerful in influencing the way I went through life after that.
So what would it take for you to make your own inner self number one, where you could give that 10-year-old boy whatever it needed at that time?
Explain a little more.
When you're going through that, right, as a 10-year-old, and you're going through all of those emotions and thoughts, who did you go to discuss it with?
Nobody.
You went to no one externally, right?
Right.
If you have a 10-year-old son and they're going through stuff and they don't come to you, how do you explain that?
Because they don't feel safe with...
They don't feel safe.
Yeah.
So as a 10-year-old that doesn't feel safe, that's terror.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the piece is that you're no longer 10. But when you talk about that, doesn't it feel like it's right now?
Yeah.
It feels like it's today.
Right.
Right? It's stuck in time. That's how trauma works. It's stuck in time. It's like a time machine. So you can actually go and reparent that the same exact way that you needed at the time. So let's say somebody was there that you felt comfortable and safe with, an adult or somebody older that came to you and said, Nolan, it makes sense. Your mom's getting married. She doesn't pay attention to you. You're feeling second. I would feel the same exact way. And you could express everything you needed to express. And you feel like, man, they get me. This is for real. And I'm okay. Would it still be stuck?
I would hope not.
It's not stuck anymore, right? Yeah. So that's the nice thing about like healing work is that inner world, you can change everything. Time, instances, everything. Because it's only how we basically internalize it, right? So I'll give you an example. One of the trainers at one of the trainings, he was working with a group. And then one of the guys there, he was talking about when he was like right around 8 or 10 or something like that, he was at a campfire and the dad threw him on the ground and started beating him up. And his whole life he lived with the feeling like my dad hates my guts. I'm worthless. And they went through that and worked it through. And during the break, the guy's brother went to the trainer and he said, hey, you know what? I was there because it was a camp that we're at. And what happened was my brother's shirt got too close to the fire and he caught on fire. And my dad leaped up and rolled him on the ground and was hitting him out to get rid of the fire. But all that boy remembered was my dad hates me. Yeah. He's beating me up for no reason, right? And that's how things get internalized. So emotional memory, not always accurate, but it determines everything else after that point.
So what do you do now as an adult? Is it that you imagine going back in time and seeing that 10-year-old and
kind of
being that adult that you wish you had? And
more or less. Yeah.
And just kind of like
that's a simple way of saying it. Yeah.
Rewrite the experience for yourself.
Yep.
Wow.
It's we call it like a redo or an update or so on. It's almost like where you have something and then, you believe something and then like from the past and someone goes, no, this is, it's because of this. What? I didn't even think about that. And then it's like, oh, and all of a sudden, all of that is whatever was being held around is gone. It's updated, right? Currently, those parts of our system are, 10 years old, 6 years old. They're stuck in time. They still think that's going on right now because it kind of is internally, right?
Yeah.
So being able to allow it to share and be heard and seen and valued and then updated, then the whole thing changes.
I don't know if it's because I've recently seen like some Marvel movies, but it just makes me feel like in Endgame when they go back and like when Tony Stark sees his
dad, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly the point, right? When he watched the video, it's like, oh man, he internalized the whole time, my dad. And if you look at Stark, right? He had that strong feeling of like, I'm not enough. Mm-hmm. So he overcompensates by being, over the top.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which then gets people kind of repelled by him, which then makes him feel I'm not enough. Then what happens is that he sees this video now and realizes, oh my God, my dad does love me.
Yeah.
He has a softening in that. He has a kind of update on that. And then it becomes a healing moment, right? Like,
yeah, it changes his
not what I
perspective of what he needs to do in life and stuff. Yeah.
It's based on perfect information versus imperfect information. Because what it will do is we will fill in all the blanks when we don't have all the information. And that's what thinking is constantly doing, right? And I think the word for like conspiracy is like basically filling in all the blanks with your own kind of opinions and so on. Yeah. So you got like an internal conspiracy going on. And then that's how we run through the world. And then we react based upon all of that and then continue to get what we don't want.
Wow. Yeah. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're on the path already. I see the pattern on it.
Now, this is definitely cleared up. Like the path was covered with a lot of shrubs and bushes.
Yep.
This kind of cleaned it out a little bit.
Well, there's not a lot of fixing. You know what I mean? Like when you look at it, fixing is going to imply that something is wrong.
Yeah, yeah. I've changed that way of thinking because, I used to say that too. I'm fixing myself.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I'm trying to understand myself and embrace myself and learn and open up, I guess, unlock things that I think I've put under lock and key because I think that's what's keeping me from reaching that full potential. And I always like, again, going back to the comic book stuff, I'm like, I have this power, but I have no idea how to use it. And right now it's hurting me because, I don't know what to do with it. But if I can learn how to work with it, I can harness it and do really great things with it. That's kind of how I feel right now.
Ever been to Thailand? So Thailand, there's this giant solid gold statue, Buddha statue. I think it's worth something like $500 million if you melted it down. I mean, it's a big solid gold Buddha statue.
Yeah.
And so the history of it is that the Buddhist monks in Thailand had basically created it. And then the Burmese people were coming in and the marauders were coming in and killing everybody and trying to take over and stuff. So what they did was they covered it over with clay and mud and everything. And then they had it under a tin roof, so it looked worthless. It was just a big rock Buddha statue. But then they all got killed. So it sat there for like hundreds of years until like I think it was 1950s or so. The area was being redeveloped, and they told them, hey, monks, you got to go move this statue, right? So they're, okay, we're going to move the statue. So as they were moving the statue, they moved it to another area, but it started to crack. And one of the guys took a light of some sort and started shining to check out the cracks, and it started to flash back. And he's like, oh, what's going on? He starts chipping away all the plaster and rocks to find a solid gold Buddha statue.
Crazy.
Right? So that, I think, as the metaphor is kind of the point I think I'm trying to make, is that for a lot of us, we'll think like, I got to go outside. And this is what I thought for the longest time. I got to go be somebody. I got to go do these things. I got to go accomplish stuff so I can be more and do more and so on, because then I will achieve like my potential or so on, versus help me to break off these pieces of protection that are supposed to be protection, but just kind of hiding what's inside.
Yeah.
And there's actually all the value and stuff is inside waiting to come out.
Wow. Yeah. That feels like the documentary of my life. Like, I initially, from high school on through probably through my mid-30s, always looking for that big thing to do, whether it's wanting to be like a professional singer, a radio DJ.
Are you a good singer?
Well, I thought I could try to be. Turns out, not so much. Oh. But that was music is really like such a beautiful gift to me. And I feel very connected to it. And I think that's why I wanted to sing. And maybe if I worked at it, I could. But again, I always would pick up stuff and then just abandon it. But everything that I had aspired to want to do, make a big business that's super successful, become a fighter, all that kind of stuff, all of it was with the hopes that the image that of victory or success in that field would be so universally adored and appreciated that I could just finally feel like, oh, okay, no one will leave me and they'll all like me.
You'll feel loved.
Yeah. And it was, again, putting hiding all of the stuff, because I was like, well, in order to be that, I've got to, become something more than what I am. But now, in talking through this, it's all there.
Yeah.
Let's actually work on getting rid of the stuff to reveal the good stuff.
Yeah, it's like chipping. It's like a constraint release. I heard another story at a function I was at last year where the woman was talking about like a Hawaiian calabash of light. And then over time, we put rocks inside of it. Rocks as protection. And then eventually you put enough rocks, you don't see the light. So it's about removing the rocks out of the calabash to let the light shine.
So I grew up watching Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, the one with Jason Scott Lee. That and Mrs. Doubtfire, my two favorite movies, and I watched it like hundreds of times, right? And so
on VHS tape.
Yeah. And it got to the point where I could recite the whole movie of Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, and I used to do like one-man acts at school at recess and redo it. But one of the things that he was saying was like, just like the sculptor, you don't add more clay. You actually strip away the inessentials to reveal the inner beauty. And I used to always quote that a lot. And I used to be like, I don't know, I felt really like, yeah, this is so profound and so great. But I never applied it to myself.
Yeah.
And today it just reminded me of that. And it's like, oh yeah, you loved that line and that analogy and that teaching, but you never ever applied it to yourself. You just like to, I don't know, talk about it. It sounds cool.
So maybe it's just that you're able to see it outside, and that becomes the reminder of what, is needed inside.
For sure. I'm just imagining a little clay guy inside now trying to like strip away things and reveal, but
it's actually a bunch of them.
Yeah.
It's how it goes. Yeah. It's not one. Yeah. It's a bunch. Yeah.
Oh, it's going to get crowded in there.
It's crowded.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a bunch.
Yeah. Kind of like that movie. Is it called?
Inside Out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because think about it, right? If we want to call it like parts, you say, I got a part of me that wants to express myself into the world authentically. I have a part of me that wants to connect with people in a real and meaningful way. That might be the same part. I don't know. I have a part of me that says, hell no, don't do that. Don't do that whatsoever. I have a part of me that's holding fear. A part of me that's holding abandonment and maybe grief with that, right? I have all these different parts. And what happens is the ones that are trying to protect are protecting the ones that are holding the wound, the burdens, the pain.
Yeah.
Because anytime that feeling of, oh my gosh, I might get abandoned comes up, then one's going to come up and say, no. What you do is you authentically put yourself in the world. And this one says, no.
Yeah.
You don't do crap.
Yeah.
Do not do
You're
anything.
exposing yourself to danger.
Right?
Yeah.
And they don't actually realize that they're protecting the same exact other part. Right? But then there's another piece in here, which is like the golden Buddha and so on, which is like your actual soul, your essence, your spirit, your self.
Yeah.
That really doesn't get damaged. It doesn't need to learn anything. That's what you come in with at birth and you leave with at death. That's your spirit. And that's what needs to be like reconnected with and basically, allowed back in the system.
Yeah.
It's always been there. It's just been covered up with all the clay and everything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the other parts don't really know it because it hasn't been there for a long time.
Yeah. It's really neat that in this last 2 years or so, I've been really putting out the energy of wanting to do this work. And it's like every month or two, somebody will come into my life and drop these things. And like sitting here today, I didn't know what to expect. I did not expect that you would be one of those messengers that I've been asking for. But here you are giving me all of this where it's like, this is exactly what I needed and was looking for at this specific time in my life. I think we were originally scheduled to do this last month.
Yeah.
If we had done this then, this would have been a totally different conversation.
Why?
Because where I'm at right now is so much further or different, not further.
More of an acceptance?
More of an acceptance, but also more of a desire. Like I'm looking for it and I'm seeing things and I'm open to it and I'm excited about it. Whereas I think back then it was more of, ooh, here's an opportunity to put up some more of this like facade of, what I think I'm supposed to do and try to, so yeah, I probably would have wanted to talk more about, the things I'm doing as far as like media goes and all that.
Isn't
stuff
that interesting
like
how the universe works?
Mm-hmm. Oh. And I truly believe like it's intentional and it's all connected and stuff. Yeah. This last 2 days, I've had these things happen. And I was just telling my wife like 3 or 4 days ago, I was at this point where I was like, universe, I feel so scared and confused and lost of all kinds of certain things. Just give me some kind of sign, like give me a message, something. And in the last 2 days, people like yourself and like I've been getting all of these like mind opening like conversations and connections of like, oh.
Like what were the other ones?
So the other one was a friend of mine. So I don't really talk to her much. She's in New Zealand. Once every few years, we'll just randomly message each other. And I remember I was just walking the dogs and I was like, she popped into my head and I was like, I should just text her and just let her know, hey, just want to say hi. Popped in my head. Hope all is well. And that's what I said, right? And she said, oh yeah, things are great. Da, 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 da. We're going to be visiting in December. Oh, awesome. We'll see you then. The next day she texts me and goes, I hope you don't mind, but after you messaged me, I had this like calling to do a reading for you. And I got some really, I think important messages that I think if you don't mind me sharing with you, the universe wants you to know. And so I was like, yeah, I would be so grateful for that. And she went on to share with me all of these messages, which were all of the specific things that I've been questioning about, like, am I doing the right thing? Like, am I going to go broke? Like nothing's working out financially right now, but I feel fulfilled and like all these kind of like specific questions. And there were so many. And one of the biggest one was, I know what I want, but I wasn't able to visualize what it was that I really was trying to do. And she explained that they're saying what you are is you are love and you just want to bring about love. And I was like, yes, that's it. And so when I was able to hear that, I was like, now it's so clear for me. And the fears of failure and finances and stuff that kind of quieted down more because I felt like connected now to what it is I was trying to feel. And then, our conversation today, it's like even more so. And it's like, there's more. I've been wanting to figure out how to connect more to my gut and my heart and emotions. And I thought it was a lot of just like thinking about it. And then today talking, I was like, oh, this makes way more sense. And I'm excited to do these things and continue this journey, you know?
Thanks for sharing that. I was kind of feeling the same thing when along almost what she was saying, which was that it's your expression of love being sent out with a request of please just accept me, accept this. And then doing it in the form of, if you know the show, doing it in the form of the vlog stuff, and then also kind of in your own work. When I look at it, it's like it all kind of brings back to that expression of love being sent out, but actually sent in.
And that's what they were saying. Yeah.
And the same exact way, like think about it. Like if you treated all of those parts of you that you've been wrestling with or, you know, grappling with and trying to submit, and you treated them the same exact way you treat the guests that you're bringing in.
Yeah.
Think about how that relationship changes.
Oh man, it'd be much different.
Right?
For sure.
And then when that relationship internally now becomes loving, everything else externally at that point changes instantly.
I have way more to give now.
It's just unobstructed.
Yeah.
Because the obstruction is actually inside.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's funny. We were talking about, you said like there's kinks in the hose. It just popped in my head. So you had our friend Lisa Mariyama on.
Oh, yeah.
Many years ago.
Yeah. No, not many years. Was it like last year?
Last year
or the year before? Yeah. Lisa. Okay.
So I went to her house, and long story short, I offered to power wash her patio because it had been overgrown with like moss and mold and stuff. And so yesterday, when I'm listening to my friend's messages, I was power washing, and I experienced where there's a kink in the hose, and I kept trying to move the hose without addressing the kink, and like little spurts of water would come out.
Don't work, right?
Yeah. And I remember just being like, hey, take a second, unkink this, and everything's cool. And so when we're doing this talk and we're talking about kinks in the hose and stuff, it's like, wow, everything's so eerily connected.
Everything is connected. Yeah.
Because I just had that experience with the hose, and I was listening to those messages, and we're talking about all this and talking about kinks in the hose and stuff. It's almost like just it keeps on going, validating and reminding, like, see, look, it's everywhere around you. You asked for the messages, you asked for signs, you asked for, you know, knowledge. And it's like, oh, I've been getting it. Like, it's almost like an overflow of it. And like, oh, thanks. But until, you know, you take the time to really look at it and appreciate it, you know, you don't realize that it's all been there and it's coming to you. So pretty awesome.
What made you bring up Lisa?
Just because the hose thing.
Oh.
And then I was like, oh, is at her house. Oh, I remember. That's where I first remember learning about you, is watching her episode with you. And so that when we got introduced, I was already like, oh yeah, he's cool because I saw him with Lisa and they're cool. Like, I can trust this guy.
Did you talk to her about her experience on the show at all?
No.
Have you talked to her about her own journey and stuff at all?
Yeah, we've gotten to connect pretty good on, she's another person I feel like is part of my tribe.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm really excited because I feel like the people that I have been connected with and have the privilege of befriending and stuff, I don't know, it's like they have these powers that I see in them, and I'm like, wow, they're gonna make changes, you know, make the world a better place. And you know, if I can just be a part of helping that too, this is gonna be a pretty cool ride. She's one of those where I feel like she's gonna make a big impact in bringing some really good things to the world.
So that expression where you're just making right now, like if you had to like turn your attention inside and then kind of determine which part of your body is that coming from, what part would that be?
What do you mean?
So that expression that you just made about her, which is I see that so much in them and their powers and so on. Mm-hmm. What part of your body is that coming from?
Oh, that's for sure my heart.
Yeah, which is that sounded very different. Than the thinking.
Yeah, for sure.
Your thinking part. How does that part view the part in your heart?
The brain is very much of, let's look at every possibility this heart could be, whether it's true or not, because what if you're wrong? So
So questions it.
Yeah.
If you look at them, how old do they look?
I feel like the heart is older because, I don't know, it has all of the ingredients, I guess, to make it what it is. Whereas the brain is just holding on to these young person habits.
If you ask that brain part, what emotion is it trying to like hold back the most? What would it say?
I think sadness, like heartbreak.
Sadness.
Yeah.
Sadness or grief? Is it sadness like I'm sad, or is it like grief, like I lost something, something's gone?
Maybe it's grief. Well, here's the other thing that makes it complicated is so my mom was a single parent because my biological father left before I was born.
Okay.
So I grew up as a young child, again, because I was alone a lot. I watched a lot of TV and I would see traditional families and see the relationships with dads and stuff. And then I'd see, my cousins and they have their dads and things. And so I remember as much as I felt loved and happy and stuff, like that missing thing of like, and I guess that's again abandonment, but I just remember fantasizing like one day I'd love to have a dad, and then
Yeah.
I'd have that picket white fence with a dog in the yard kind of thing. Like that's the dream life. So I know I was sad a lot, but I think I didn't know where it came from. And I thought it was because I was missing something. But I guess that could be grief because I feel like even though I didn't have it when I was born, I still lost it, right? In the womb, so to speak, right?
And then if you kind of watch the grief, if you were like aware of that sadness and the grief, does it belong to you or does it belong to your mom?
I've looked at it from both sides.
Like right now?
Right now?
Yeah. You look at right now, you say, okay, this percentage is mine. This percentage is my mom's.
I think it's mainly mine now. It used to be a lot more on my mom, and I would feel so sad for her and stuff.
No, your mom's grief that she's feeling, or your mom's sadness, or your mom's worry about abandonment while you're in the womb being transferred to you.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Whose is it?
I feel like it's a lot of it is hers. Yeah, and I've always felt that too.
Stuff like those ones, that's actually easier to release. It's not yours, that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so sad because I can feel that
Yeah.
abandonment and hurt, and I know it's not mine, but it hurts just as much as if it was.
Totally. If you think about it, every woman is born with every egg they're going to ever have, meaning that you felt everything in your mom's mom. You experienced everything she experienced. Because how can your wrist not experience what's going on in the rest of your body? No, the body experiences it. So everything that your mom's mom experienced, and then your mom, you did, it's going to feel like you.
Yeah.
Although it's not, which makes it tough because then what happens is you go, okay, I have some longing, I have some grief, I have sadness around my potential father, but you mix in with hers and then potentially mom, that becomes kind of a lot to hold.
Yeah.
Right? And the pain of that becomes intense when you're the only one holding it. It's like trying to lift something. I look at like the 6-man canoes, outrigger. So I see them moving the 6-man. They weigh like 400, 600 pounds or whatever they are, right? And they move it. And when they have like 20 people moving it, it's heavy, but they move it. But if you have to hold that yourself, it's almost unbearable. That's overwhelming.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But the ones that like the legacy pieces that are kind of just passed down and so on are simpler to release when you release them, if you release them. Yeah.
Pretty powerful. I have to say, I just want to share my deep appreciation for you investing and putting your time and energy into me in this way. Like, yeah, I just want to express just how much I appreciate you and how grateful I am, because this is a extremely valuable gift of just this experience and this time. So I want you to just know that's how much I feel about what we shared today. So I'm really grateful.
Yeah. I'm going to take that in. Thank you. And I'm appreciative that you were vulnerable and open with me. I just feel like it was a connecting moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And whatever needed to happen kind of happened.
Yeah.
So, I want to acknowledge you for, I don't know how else to say it, but it's like for sharing your heart and doing it in so many different ways. That was meaningful to me. Yeah. If you resonate with Greater Good Radio, please join our community at www.greatergoodradio.com, where you can get access to exclusive content and offerings. Hope to see you soon.